Hello, everyone, and welcome to Off the Record with Judah
and Kirk.
Today we have an absolutely scrumptious episode as we're going to be talking about some very relevant Star Trek stuff.
Yep.
Because we are going to be discussing the first two episodes
Starfleet Academy.
Of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, the brand new series that dropped this Thursday, January 15th.
Last night when I guess it actually released in the morning, Thursday morning.
But we
are recording this Friday morning,
and
it will come out tomorrow morning, Saturday. So hopefully this is a very relevant topic.
Yeah, it's timely.
It might be a controversial one. Obviously, we've seen a lot of people talking about it before it comes out with everything, and there's always a lot of controversy around that, and like how recent Star Trek has been not as good and things like that. So that's actually what my question for you is, Judah. What were our standards when we went into this episode? Like where did we set the bar? Did it exceed that? Did it not exceed that? What's going on?
Okay, so going into this first episode of this new series, I had no expectations, really. Like, I think my expectations, if they exist, were in the negatives. Like, I was like, this is going to be trash. Like, from the trailers, it looked bad. From the concept, like, I'm interested in Star Trek for the exploration. So getting grounded with a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
On a campus. Not really my cup of tea. But I will say that the first episode majorly the first 23 minutes of the first episode, I think we can both agree on this, because I made sure we noted when the change happened. The first 23 minutes of the first episode is like peak Star Trek. Like, it was really good.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of a quality drop off for the rest of the episode. But some of the characters introduced that are continuing on were just like really fantastic in a surprising way. Well acted, well written, and just like characters that you are invested in easily after just 2 episodes with them, right? Yeah. So there's some of that going on with this, which was not expected at all. I was expecting to be like, this is a trash fire dumpster heap, you know. It has quality issues. I don't think anyone... So, premise of this show, basically, is... Kirk, would you like to give us a brief premise of this show? We're at Starfleet Academy. It's an academy.
They're basically just, the Marine Corps, except not as Marine-like at all. We do actually get the introduction of the War Academy? Something like that. Yeah, which... might be, we'll get some of that as we go forward. Actually, some of that comes in episode 2, which we'll talk about here in a second. Yeah. But that might be a little bit more interesting from that side of it. But this is like a very just university education type thing, but it's supposed to be also structured in a way that's like if you were at some military academy. Exactly. Right? And they're trying to blend both of those things. That's going to be hard. I guess we'll see where they go throughout the season. Yeah. But where it did excel is certainly those first 23 minutes. Yes. And so, like you said, Judah, this is not going to be something that's like constantly all out exploring and things like that. This is set in an academy that can technically fly. It is technically a ship, but it is also... There are classes that are in the regular, old historic academy grounds.
On San Francisco.
Yes, in San Francisco, California. Yeah. And so the ship will spend a lot of time there. I'm sure we'll do some things out there, like training exercises or some things like that. But very much grounded to Earth. Yeah. And we also get a lot of just character building things. And so I think that's where a lot of this is going to go, is just focusing on the character, because we don't have the exploration of space and the final frontier and all that. It's going to have to rely more on that. So we'd be expecting a lot more of those types of things going forward.
I thought, based off the premise, it being an academy, the students were pretty great. Like, overall, one of them really bringing a lot of them up specifically, which we'll get to when we dive into the plot. And one of the things Kirk really liked the doctor on staff. Yeah. I didn't really, for any of the staff on for the academy. None of them felt real, and I feel like they were the worst actors in a show that's centered around teenagers in school, and the teenage actors are better. You know what I mean?
Well, because they're the kids basically are the focus of the story. Yeah. We do get, like you said, the EMH from Voyager and also Prodigy more recently. Robert Picardo is in this, and he's a hologram, so he doesn't have to age. Theoretically, his holographic matrix could degrade or be destroyed or whatever else, so he can die, but he hasn't in these last almost 1,000 years. So he's around, and obviously I have the history with Robert Picardo as that character, and so I was interested in that, as well as Reno, one of the instructors, which is she's a Discovery character, and she's not even really that spectacular of a character.
You just have a history.
Yes, there is that history of her in Discovery, as well as she was one of the highlights in Discovery. Again, not that she was even that good in Discovery, it's just that Discovery was that bad that she was a highlight. And so that kind of brings up the anticipation a little bit for me there, as well as Admiral Vance. I think he was actually a pretty good character in Discovery, even from objective standards, not even relative. And he's in this, and I'm very excited to see more of him as well going forward.
So overall thoughts for you differing with the staff, you enjoyed some of them a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
What else do you differ with? Do we agree on generally, like, it's pretty great for the first 23 minutes. We drop down to, like, above average for the
recent Star Trek.
Recent Star Trek for the rest of what we have seen, which is the first 2 episodes.
And much of it is because, much of why it's so high in our minds is because our standards were so low. If we had set higher standards going into this, then it might not have met them or have just barely met them, and we might not think as positively about this as we do right now. But because we went in with bad, really low standards, like you were saying negative, I was saying below the floorboard. If you're putting this on like a totem pole,
it was in the basement.
So it exceeded those, and that kind of gives it a bit of an inflationary bump there. But overall, it is still good for recent Star Trek. Even if you're looking at it from the objective standard, getting rid of that kind of bump from that perspective, it's not bad. And also, it's severely affected by the premise, which is very not Star Trek. You're saying, it's very grounded. It's on Earth. They're in an academy. They're not out exploring. And that's what Star Trek is. It's out exploring. And so given the premise that they're not doing that, you kind of have to give it benefit of a doubt in a way. And so we're going to try to do that as we move forward with this. But
definitely
getting a little bit more into the plot line, the first 23 minutes, that is actually a little bit like out in space exploring type stuff, right? And a lot of that's because some of it's set in the past, like to get to know our main perspective character, Caleb. He's out in some colony with his mom and played by Tatiana Maslany, She-Hulk. Who's
acting in this
really good.
Great. Yeah, she's great.
And then we also get your favorite,
Paul Giamatti as Braka.
Right.
Yeah,
and
excellent.
So they've got some history. Caleb is just a little kid, right? And then Braka kind of persuades his mom to
help him in order that they can have food, so she can feed Caleb and get food herself.
Yes.
He persuades her into helping him in some kind of way, hijacking something that ends up with a Starfleet officer dying.
Yes, it's a shuttlecraft. Yeah. It was probably some shipment of some kind or something like that, but you can get food on a shuttlecraft. And so he kind of coerces her into that, using her son as like the reasoning of, you got to feed your child, right?
Yeah.
And so whatever happens with that happens. We don't actually see it on screen, but we do see the aftermath, which is they're brought before essentially a kind of Federation tribunal thing.
Except for it's single judge, question mark?
Yes.
Nala, or Captain Nala.
Captain Nala Ake, I believe is her last name. And she is, I'm not sure if she's actually like a captain at this point or anything like that. We do learn that she's half Lanthanite, which is a new species introduced in Strange New Worlds, and we know that they are effectively immortal. They can die, but they don't age. If she's half, she can probably age and die, but it would still be quite long lifespan. So what did you say they said her age was?
420 something.
Yeah. Which is another interesting perspective of before the burn. Judah, you don't really know much about that because that's all a Discovery thing, right?
Yeah.
But there is, for people who did watch Discovery and who do not know, who do know that lore, that's some interesting perspective to have in a post-burn story.
Yeah.
With somebody who was before that, even when it was such a long time ago. And also the Doctor, right?
Yeah.
So
we have this judge who's going over this case, and she deals harshly with Braka, which, makes sense. He's kind of the ringleader of this. He orchestrated this attack, if you will. But she did not exactly. I mean, I didn't think that the mom should have been let off with the kid, right? Like it's like a Les Mis situation, right? Stole a loaf of bread for my starving child, you know.
The complication is that a Starfleet officer died. Yeah. And especially because this was 15 years ago from like when the show is set, and so it's still very much dealing with the aftermath of like the burn and of Starfleet collapsing and all that. So it's a harsher world. Yeah. And so you also have to be a little bit harsher in your punishments in such a world. And they talk about that, and they say that it was still actually too harsh for that. Yeah. There should have probably been some sort of a punishment, but separating her from her child and putting her in a penal colony for like the rest of her life or whatever it would be is definitely not the way, right?
So, this is what ends up happening. So they take the kid from her and they take her away. And the kid is put in a room, and Nala goes to talk to him. And she like comforts him, and he's like, "Oh, can you go get my teddy bear from the trial room where he left it?" Mm-hmm. So she goes back to gets it, and she realizes that her little emblem is gone.
Yeah, her comm badge.
And he's escaped. And like legendary child move right there.
Yeah,
like very smart. Love that kid. So he escapes, and we cut forward 15 years to him being in the capture of some alien people, whose ship he basically commandeers, which is excellent. It's showcasing his skill and his ability, which he has a lot of. Caleb, he's very smart and resourceful and knows combat and stuff, and it's very, very well done. And then they end up catching him, and he's captured. And we cut back to Nala, who is on some kind of like teaching a pre-K basically on some planet, and she meets your favorite character. What is Admiral Dad or whatever?
Dadmiral Vance. Yeah. Everybody was calling him Dadmiral Vance in Discovery.
Yeah, so he shows up to talk to Captain Nala and offer her what position?
Chancellor of Starfleet Academy. First class since the burn.
Yes, which is big deal, kind of big deal. So she doesn't really want to do it, but she wants to right her wrong. And I think he's like, hey, the kid that disappeared under your command and is part of the reason why you resigned X amount of years ago.
Yeah.
Well, we have him. You can go talk to him. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, if he can come to the academy with me, then yes.
Yeah.
And so she then proceeds to go to talk to him.
Because she kind of wants to make things right.
Yeah, which is fair. So she goes to talk to him, and dude, that's whoever that actor is, it's a tall guy.
Yeah.
Because there's a scene where they let him out of his restraints, and he's just standing over her, and she's like half his size.
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
So it's Sandro Rosta. Yes. He is definitely very tall. Yes. But Holly Hunter, who is Nala Ake, is also just very short. So you put those two things together, and it's like you and me.
Yeah,
you're very tall.
Exactly.
I'm not very tall.
Yeah. It's probably the same size disparity. But it's really good acting in that scene, and basically she promises him that they're going to find his mother.
Yes.
And she tells him that his mother escaped from the colony and hasn't contacted a year ago and hasn't contacted him yet, which is like something he's really torn up about.
Yeah, because they're supposed to have a way to contact.
Yeah.
And he's been more or less able to receive
those communications.
Exactly.
Yeah. Though she might have not sent them to him.
Yeah.
So they go to the ship.
Yes,
Academy.
the Athena is the ship.
The USS Athena.
And
great ship name. He takes the test in the back of the shuttle and like aces it.
Yeah. 98th percentile, I think
98th percentile. Fantastic. Clearly. He's a high level student. We get onto the Athena. We start getting a tour, and that's when the quality goes from being like peak to we drop down to okay.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna let you take it from there.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of just like introductions to new characters. We get our medical Klingon character,
which I like him.
Yeah, we get one of the potential love interests for Caleb, I guess. Obviously, this is the kind of show that is. And then we get Sam, I believe, was this hologram girl's name.
Yeah.
Who is a recent creation, I suppose, if it's a hologram. Yeah. She is 3 months old, made to look 17 years old, so that she is going out with the specific purpose of like being a student in an academy.
Yeah.
So, like, there's research purposes behind that and things like that, I'm sure. But basically, this is a character that exists. Hologram. It's supposed to also give Robert Picardo's Doctor a
kind of mentee.
Yeah, some sort of mentor-mentee status with another hologram, except he has hundreds and hundreds of years of experience, and she is 3 months old.
Yeah.
Right? So we get a little bit of a disparity with that, and stories can be told with that.
Yeah.
And a couple of other characters as well. We'll get more into some of them, both like instructors and other staff and things like that. But then the main thing of the episode happens, and that is...
Caleb tries to check the messages of his mom.
Because apparently she's been out
for a year. So he's like, hey, maybe I
maybe I missed something. Maybe I didn't get it,
So he does that. He's interrupted by whatever... We have the cast right here.
Yes, we do. Genesis is the character's name. It is Bella Shepard.
Bella Shepard, who plays Genesis, finds him contacting his mom. They have a little back and forth. He closes it down. He's like, I guess I got to deal with this stiffy stuff. She didn't contact me. He's sad. Him doing that alerts Noose Braka, who is in the area, to their presence.
Yeah, your favorite character.
My favorite character. And so they stop. They use programmable matter. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Which is a very 31st century.
Very 31st century thing, apparently.
Yes.
Use programmable matter to take away a lot of the ship's systems and hold it. And then one of if not the best scenes in the show so far is when he hails the captain.
Yes.
And they have the conversation, and he is like, he's unhinged.
Yeah.
But he's also like got such a gravitas that he's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Like, he gives me like.
And he's also like physically there in person, because with how they do hailings, I guess in the 31st century, is like a hologram of the person you are talking to on another ship appears on the bridge, and you like look face to face with each other and you talk.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really interesting way of doing this, because there's obviously not the worry that, say you're going to get stabbed by them, but you can still have all the emotional weight behind somebody being physically right there, and you're talking to them about a very serious situation, such as you're trapping our ship and potentially endangering the entire crew, and you're trying to steal from us.
Yeah, he gave me like Jack Nicholson Joker vibes from like that 1989 Batman movie. Like, he's unhinged, but he's like scary unhinged.
Yeah,
like it's not just like, oh, ha ha ha. He's like, dude's gonna kill someone.
And it's not even that he's unhinged. I don't think he was ever on hinges to begin with.
There was no hinges. That door has never been hung. Yeah. But basically, he wants to take the warp core.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he wants to take the warp core. That's his plan right now. That's like his like present plan.
Yeah.
Like,
because actually that's a part of what the burn was, which was it destroyed all active warp cores in the galaxy universe. Probably not the universe, but
like that question mark.
Effectively, the entire Star Trek world blew up with that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's actually like getting dilithium, getting warp cores, things like these. These are rare, valuable resources to have.
Yeah.
And so it actually would make sense for pirates to be like, hey, I want that.
Yeah, it would, definitely. Very good scene with him. Then we get they hit the ship. Then we get some of the kids having to work together, save their cadet master, as I guess we're calling her.
Yes.
I don't know.
She is a character that is not supposed to exist biologically speaking. She is Jem'Hadar
she's half
Klingon.
Klingon.
Yeah, so half Jem'Hadar, half Klingon. But the Jem'Hadar were specifically genetically modified to be male only, as like servants for the Dominion. Klingons do.
Yeah, so she would more, if she was a female, she would more resemble, based off of my understanding of how interstellar traditional race mixing works.
Yeah.
If you have a species like in Mass Effect, but this is my understanding.
Okay.
There's an all race of female people called the Asari, right? They look female to literally everyone, right? If they have a male child, it looks like whatever the race of their male companion mate is, right?
Yeah.
If they have a female child, it looks like them.
Yeah,
right?
and I would assume it'd be something like that, just like dominant genes,
so she
things
would
like
look
that.
more like a Klingon.
But she doesn't.
I don't know.
She looks very specifically like Jem'Hadar.
Yeah.
And I think that's them trying to like push some sort of a message about it. I don't really even know what kind of a message it would be, but it seems like just a weird inclusion. It's like, why are you trying to break canon like that? Like, you don't have to do that, right? Yeah. So I just found it a little strange, but that is a character in this show, and we have to deal with it. Yeah. Overall, though, how the character is actually played is not like just throw in the dumpster. Yeah. Like it definitely isn't that. So it's beyond the fact that the concept is a little weird, we will take it as it is going forward.
It's more the concept and less the acting and the writing. But she gets injured, and we see Genesis and Sam and Caleb and whatever the other guy,
the fish guy,
fish guy, whatever his name is, and then the Klingon doctor guy, who also
Jaden, I believe.
Jaden, bang up performance. That guy's voice is fantastic. Love it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, interesting character as well.
Yeah.
Again, at least on like blue carpet interviews, they're saying, "Oh, like this is the first portrayal of a medical Klingon," and so like not all Klingons have to be, you know, this warrior race, things like that. And it's like, okay, yes, you are right. This is the first time we've actually seen it on screen, but it's not exactly that he's like breaking any Klingon standards or anything like that, because as somebody noted, can't quite remember who, but when you're at war, you need medics. Doctors. Like, sure, the Klingons, it's like, oh, dying in the glory of battle and all that, but also, if you don't die, you don't just want to like waste away, because that's not exactly honorable. So you need to get back healthy so that you can go die in an honorable death in battle, right? So they would actually have the best doctors in the entire galaxy, really. Like they would have some crazy medical innovations and things like that. And so we know, at least in the background, that would probably be quite a respected class of Klingons. But they're instead trying to, again, with messages. But in the show, we don't actually see that message. It's just like all outside of the show and things like that. And so that's where a lot of just like the actors and the actresses and even the showrunners and the writers and all these people outside of the show try to push something into the show that they didn't even put there. Because in the show, again, he's actually a great character.
He's a really great character, yeah. I don't know. It's interesting outside. In the modern age, the effect that creators and people that are in any production of anything have on the perception of someone's experience watching the actual thing that has like literally nothing to do with the show or movie or whatever it is itself is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any of this knowledge about this stuff. I came in completely blind, and probably maybe like we enjoyed it at the same level, but I had less of a less of a negative tendency toward it.
Well, and I think I'm fairly good at compartmentalizing what people say outside of the show versus what I am seeing on screen. Yeah. And what I'm seeing on screen, again, it's not that bad, especially relative to recent Star Treks.
Yes.
But yeah, this Klingon character might be one of the like core favorite characters of the series as it progresses. So far, we'll see. Definitely within the first 2 episodes, I'm very interested to see more of this character. Okay.
So here's what happens. Noose Braka comes onto the ship with a boarding party to take the warp core. Caleb has a way to get the matter off.
Yes.
Right? He has to go to like where the airlocks are.
Yeah, they have to get outside the ship and like scan the thing to get some sort of like the atomic
code, so they can
like that.
Use that so they can hack it basically. Yeah. The fish guy Sam does it. He goes outside.
That Sam is not the fish guy.
No, Sam is the girl. She and the Klingon doctor guy are with the cadet master and take out the thing that got lodged right next to her heart. So Darim, is that right?
I think George Hawkins' Darim Raimi is the character. Okay. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So this guy goes out into space, nearly freezes to death. Okay. My hot take of this episode. I thought that he should have sacrificed himself and died in space, and it should have given everyone like a little bit of trauma.
I agree.
And I think the cadet master should have died, so it would have motivated both of the people that seem to be going into more medical type of stuff, which is Sam and the Klingon guy. Like I feel like that would have been motivation. It's like, this is real loss. This is real
as well
life.
As for Caleb, because it's his mistake.
Because it's like his mistake caused these deaths.
Yes,
right.
So he put the broadcast out there that led Noose Braka into where they are to know where they are onto the ship because he knows that there's going to be a warp core on this thing. Mm-hmm. That's what precipitates this entire encounter. Yeah. And so the weight of 2 people dying on his watch, a classmate as well as an authority figure. Yeah. Even if he doesn't necessarily like either of them, and he doesn't. Yeah. It's definitely a weight, and that could have been really interesting for his character going forward, but we don't get that.
And it would have, like, in the next episode, it would have not only enhanced, like, the stuff he's dealing with his mom and, like, the Noose Braka thing and then being on the run for 15 years, right? It would have given him more stakes to stick around in the Starfleet Federation, right? Like, because as of the end of episode 2, he still has the ability to, like, it would make sense for him to leave. You know what I mean? Right.
Which he needs more motivation to still stick around. Because he needs to stick around. Like, we know he's going to through the series because he's supposed to be one of the main characters for presumably this could go on for 4 seasons, maybe more depending on what they wanted to do with that. Maybe 5, if they do a 5th year type thing.
Yeah.
I know that they have filmed up to season 3 by this point, actually, which is interesting because yesterday, our time, 2 days ago, your time, viewers, they released episode 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And they've already filmed up to season 3, which is crazy.
Cool, actually. I like that.
It does show faith in the story.
I mean, there's again, really strong elements in the story. We're going to get back to summarize the plot. I know we're going on a whole bunch of tangents in the middle.
This is how we get when it's something we actually are interested in and care about, though, which actually should tell you something about the story.
Yeah. Which, like, the story is, like, this is going to help us finish summarizing. Caleb and the Noose Braka, like, conflict there is great because they say that the warp core is going to explode or something. They get Noose Braka out of there. And they're like, oh, we defeated him. You can get the nanites off, right?
Yeah.
Noose Braka's not that dumb.
Right.
Noose Braka shows up to where Caleb is, and the two of them have a fight that is like, we've seen a very little of hand-to-hand combat in Star Trek, or like outside of that Mbanga episode, the Butcher of the Jagal one.
Yes.
Right? Outside of that episode, we've seen nothing. And Paul Giamatti and Sandra Rasta do it's like an excellent fight scene. You can tell that what's his name? Not Caleb. Noose Braka. Noose Braka is unhinged as heck and is also very physically powerful. Like, he is throwing strikes. And Caleb...
Because he is actually half Klingon as well.
He is half Klingon as well. Yeah. And Caleb is giving it his darndest and pushing back as well. And he doesn't lack combat ability. And it's a good fight, which ends with Noose Braka escaping into space and Caleb turning off the nanites and Noose Braka telling him that his mom, something happened.
Yeah.
Gave him some planet
name. She escaped, but she's been on such and such planet. I forget exactly what it's called, but then that's a motivating factor for episode 2. That he there's a bit of a conflict with what's her name, the Nala. There's a bit of a conflict there because she's like, obviously does want to help him find his mother, but then also he needs to be in the academy and things like that. And so there's conflict where he's just like, yeah, but you know that I'm just here so that I can find my mother, right? Yeah. And so him trying to find that place is a lot of the motivating factor for episode 2. And we'll get into it, and we got to be a little bit quicker with this because we're already at 30 minutes. But before we do that, I just want to remind you to hit the like button, subscribe. We know that there's like 130 or so regular monthly viewers of this, which is a much more recent number. So thank you guys so much for this support in viewership. But you're not subscribed quite yet. So if you would do that, we would greatly appreciate it.
We would.
And also go over to offtherecord_JK on Instagram and follow us there. We sometimes post some things on our stories. We have some shorts that go up there as well. I guess they are not shorts, they're reels when they're up there. Yeah. And things like that. So there is content for you to consume over there if you would like that. But getting into episode 2 a little bit, this one is a lot more chill. We don't get any of what the first 30 or so minutes of episode 1 was out in space. Yeah.
We also don't have a whole lot of action. It's a lot. It's like
it's relationships and characters.
Yeah, which is good. Well, it's good because there's 2 characters I enjoy watching. Yeah. And they're both in the episode, and Caleb is one of the focal characters, so that's one of the characters I enjoy. And we get some fun background stuff with his Klingon buddy.
And some introduction with the War Academy as well, which I hope they do some things with background in going forward in the series too. Yeah, but this episode was definitely a quality drop-off from the first episode, but also given the setting and the scenario that we're in, it fits that. Like, it is what it is supposed to be. So we get some character moments, we get some will they, won't they relationship stuff.
Whole bunch of that.
It's like a Romeo and Juliet thing as going on. And this one is they're having negotiations in the academy with the what's the species called?
Don't look at me. You're the alien guy.
Okay, we had to cut there for just a second because I completely blanked, but the species name is Betazoid, from Beta Z, I believe, is the planet name. But it's Counselor Troy in The Next Generation is one of the members of that species. I believe she's half Betazoid. But they are telepathic, And we get their leader in this episode, and they have like this wall that they built up around both like their system as well as kind of neighboring systems that decided to ally with them after what was essentially like the fall of the Federation during the burn, because resources were spread thin. And this wall, it's probably like some sort of force field type thing that nothing can really get past. And
yeah, they're an interesting race because I don't understand what they look human to me. They have some heightened emotions.
Yeah, empathy, telepathy type stuff, but like mental magic essentially. And yeah, they do look very human because a lot of this is like they were created in a time where we didn't quite have as much CGI and ability with makeup and all that stuff. So they're humans from a different planet with psychic abilities, basically.
Most of Star Trek aliens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what a lot of it is. And actually, going in to the 31st century, we do have a lot more interesting characters.
The rock people. I love them.
There's the rock people. There's a couple of creepier species, alien things that are like very not human, which is cool. And like some lizard people and some fish people and all these other things. So it's a little bit more creative with like they're not just humans with a little bit of makeup on, right? Although they are all bipedal.
For the most part, yeah.
You know, there is still that. But what can you do? Anyway, we have a delegation coming over to Starfleet Academy with a lot of like some of their younger generation students, things like that. And at least 2 of them actually stick around by the end of the episode. And brother and sister, sister love interest of Caleb, brother annoyance interest and roommate for Caleb.
Annoyance interest is crazy.
Exactly. As if he already didn't have enough with the fish boy who should have died in episode 1 being his roommate as well. So, that's going to be interesting watching that conflict or not conflict, because by the end of the episode as well, he was like not as opposed to their existence, I suppose. And completely opposed to Starfleet and all that. And also, he wants to stick around because he's in love.
Hot chicks. That's
exactly.
It's a motivation.
Exactly,
He's also a step further on finding his mom, so...
Yes, because the planet that Braka had mentioned was behind this wall, right? And so this colony thing, it looked like it was on some sort of an asteroid, really. It definitely didn't look like a planet. Was recent since the burn, since that wall went up and Starfleet, either sensors or ships or anything else, wasn't over there to look. But maybe pirates who find ways past things would know about those types of places. So it wasn't in Starfleet database, but it was in the Beta Z database. So that'll move the story along. It also helps satisfy him a little bit that he has more information and he can continue working with Nala, I believe.
Captain Nala.
Nala Ake. It's going to take me a minute to get used to some of these character names.
Some of them you stick with you because you're like, Caleb.
Caleb, easy.
Yeah, easy. Noose Braka. It's stuck with me since we watched the first episode yesterday evening.
Right.
I have to look at the sheet every time that I prefer to literally any of the other ones. I'm like, who's that?
But we will probably get to it.
Yeah. Do you want to give ratings for these first 2? Like, give us a number, because there is a drop-off between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
What's the out of 10 you're rating for episode 1 and then episode 2? Reasons for why you say the drop-off and reasons why... What you liked better that you want to see them do more. That would.
And I do want to say before, like as a preface, that this is more a rating of not only recent Star Trek, but recent everything in film and TV.
Yeah.
If I were rating it against Voyager is leaps and bounds better, right? By far. So it wouldn't even register on the scale.
Yeah.
But relative to some of the recent things, I'd give this episode a 7, 6.5, something like that. I know 7 is like the number that people pick when they're trying to pick a random high number.
But 7 is first.
But it does seem, because it's 8 seems too high. 6 seems a little too harsh. Yeah. So going with 7.
First episode is, I think, of what I've seen of old stuff, which is really good. I think that the scale, if anything, should probably move up, because like a lot of the new stuff is bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that. It's in context, it's not that bad, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and also because this is supposed to be a very different premise of this is Academy. This is supposed to be, love interest. Will they? Won't they? They're in
it's a different
college
type of show.
Yeah.
Right. So like, if we were creating Strange New Worlds against TNG or the OTG, right? Or those old TOS.
That's
TOS. Yeah, no, I got it. If we were grading like that, then it's like, okay, that makes sense. But if we're grading TNG against this, you're like, TNG's really good, but TNG's also really different. So that's like an 8.5 in a Star Trek category.
Yeah.
This has Star Trek in the name. This is really like a different category of shows. It feels,
and it might be easier if it were a scale out of 100.
Yeah.
But then that might get too
because then this would be like a 70, 65 probably. Like that feels high enough. So the first episode definitely a 7 out of 10. Like it's really engaging. I was engaged. I had a lot of thoughts about this show and its premise before watching it.
Yeah.
Didn't think I was going to enjoy any of it. I enjoyed it maybe more than Kirk, the first episode.
Yeah.
There is a bit of a drop off with the second episode. It's 6 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Mostly because I want more new Braka. And also, I want to focus a little bit on the Klingon. Like, there are things I want more of, and there are things I want less of.
Yeah.
Like, I want to deal with less of, the overarching command. Like, Nala, I understand the character. I don't, give us your professors and stuff. It's a school setting, so, X-Men, Harry Potter, all that kind of stuff. They have their teachers, so great. But, who are you really focusing on in those stories? Focus on the kids. So, let's do that tenfold. Let's anchor down on that.
Sure.
So that's my takeaway from this is there's a decline by a whole point, and I'm engaged to see what happens next. I can definitely see it continuing to go down. I can also see it going back up.
Yeah, because we do know that there will be at least some training exercise where they go out and do things. Yeah. So potentially that's where things could get better, especially with News Braka coming back up, Paul Giamatti. And getting more into the story of Caleb and his mom and all of that and Nala's involvement with that. But I agree there was a drop-off, and I might put it a little lower than 6. I might put it at about a 5, something like that. But I do know that's because this episode was, relative to the first episode, super chill, calm, just on Earth in San Francisco, and we're just, doing negotiations, which actually is in a way very Star Trek as well. Mm-hmm. But after being exposed to the high stakes of episode 1, the calming down of episode 2 is a little bit less interesting to me. Yeah. But I wouldn't even say a 5, maybe 5.5, right? I'd say that's passing grade for this series in my mind. So don't take that to be as negative as it might sound.
Yeah, and I think we have probably a more favorable opinion of what I've read. We have a more favorable opinion of this. There's two things to that, which is sometimes dedicated fans have. As a DC guy, I know this. There are comic series that do different things with characters that people tank the ratings of because they don't like it, right?
Yeah, because it's different.
It's not that it's poorly written or that it's poorly executed. It's that it's different. Yeah. And people don't like different. So there's a bit of that with this.
And we try to compartmentalize that a little bit when it's okay, what is the setting of the show? Let's grade it with that. Yeah. When is the show literally set in the real world? It is 2026. Yeah. It is not the 90s anymore. We have to rate on that scale. Yeah. Otherwise, we're not actually giving honest ratings about it. We're just saying, the past was better, which, by the way, is a fallacy. It may kind of be true in some cases, but it is also just a fallacy if you're just going to say it right off the bat. Yeah. So we try not to do that. It's good given these things. Yeah. Other people don't like it as much. I would say even reviewers don't like it under It does have an 85 on Tomato Meter, but if you look at their ratings versus what they write under their rating, it is very different. They actually, it sounds like they're giving it 80-90% in the rating, but then what they're describing is 30%, and it's really confusing. It's really weird. So I think we're actually looking at it a little more favorably than even the reviewers, who are technically giving it higher scores than we are.
And we're pretty optimistic people. But
that's true.
With that being said, leave a comment down below if you've seen this series first or second episode. What are your thoughts on it? If you haven't, if you have thoughts on Star Trek, strong opinions, suggestions, anything like that, leave them down in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. We'd love to respond to them.
And even if you're one of those people who's like, oh, no, this is not my Star Trek,
yeah,
we want to hear that.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Because we want to see a little bit of what your perspective on why you think that, if this isn't what Star Trek is supposed to be, I want to know what you think Star Trek should be, and I actually may agree with you in a lot of that.
I don't know if I will. We'll see. But with that being said, this is Off the Record with Judah
and Kirk.
We are wishing you a good morning, good evening, and a good night. God bless.
Bye.